Chris Lovell here with another edition of Pirate Talk with my man Chip Darden, the head coach of the Lubbock Cooper Pirates, and process-oriented, like as we talked about last week. This was a wild game, tale of two halves, and all that. But you wake up Monday morning and it's like, hey man, we stick with what we've been doing. We don't change anything. But that was a wild game, man.
Yeah, and it's true, and it's like how we approach a lot of things is the same, but there are things to fix. So so our approach this week has been that, and I think the main area is discipline, and it's something that's one of our core values, and and it's 100% on the head coach. Like there's no other, the buck stops there 100%. So I've let it kind of, maybe just grow a little bit with some discipline things that we've seen and maybe hadn't addressed like we needed to, and then it shows up in a game like that, and that's the way that works. So that's one area that I think if you came out to our practices every day, that maybe you notice a little difference. Our kids respond to it well. I mean, that's the way they've played all along, and it just was one of those that just kind of happened and on me, and so. That's the one change. Yes, the process stays the same. We still going to show up, and if anything this week, I always think it's funny. Like there used to be a misconception that, if you lose or if you play bad or something, that you're going to come back and the next week's going to be rough. And we actually cut practice down a little bit this week. We didn't practice quite as much. So still the same and all that stuff. Still the same in how we prep, but we changed some things discipline-wise this week.
This was a tale of two halves. You were not pleased with your team's really play or effort or whatever it would be in the first half, and then I think you want to bottle the way that they played in that second half and say, if we can be this team, look out.
Yeah, and I think the physicality was the main thing. That was the challenge at halftime. I'm pretty even keel most of the time, and halftime I wasn't quite as even keel, and we got going, and I thought the guys responded, and we played a lot more physical. But Abilene High is a physical football team, and really everybody in our district is. They just out-physicaled us in the first half, and you're just not going to win a lot of games doing that. So on our end, getting out-physicaled, you're not going to win a lot of games. So challenged them on that. I thought they responded really well. I think that's a situation. You're at Shotwell Stadium down 28-14 at half. They're getting the ball. There's a lot of situations that it goes south in a hurry. Our guys didn't quit, kept battling, and even we get a stop, and then offense moves it a little bit, and then we sputtered again, and I don't know. There were just I think several situations that our guys could have just said, you know what, let's get to next week and move on, and they didn't. They kept fighting. I was really proud of how they fought.
Yeah, because it was teetering.
Yeah,
and then it wasn't. I mean. Special teams is always that, they always say in football there's like the third side of the ball or the third aspect of the game, but this is what really, flipped it, the whole thing. Whether it was a bit of a low snap by Abilene or whether it was a weird decision by their kid, to me it looked like, okay, this may be a fake, but you kind of almost like an option. Hey, you could fake it, but if it's not there, kick it. It gets like in this in between. Either way, you took advantage of it and made huge plays, and it totally turns the whole game around.
Yeah. That first one was interesting because it's fourth and short, kind of in that middle area where it's a opportunity where we think they might fake it or they might just go for it. They're in a punt formation, but without a punter, so they've got the three like bears, a shield aligned, but there's no punter behind them, and so we're kind of looking over, and I thought Coach Reed and Coach Lakeman did a good job of just playing safe. Then, one of their best athletes, a sophomore, backs up. So now he's in punt formation. And at one point I kind of said, do we want to back Ritz up? Do we want to back Cal up? And, again, Coach Reed kept him up, and obviously it was good that he did. And Vinny makes a good play, and I don't know, it looked like maybe their kid had the option to run or punt.
There was too much going on there for him not to be thinking about. I've got there was just something. It wasn't a pooch kick all the way or a punt all the way.
Yeah, but that was a huge play, and Cal in the right spot with it pops right up to him, and there's not a lot of people that are going to be able to catch him on the run and. Flip the game. I mean, that I'd like to think if they just straight up punted it, we were going to go score. But man, the momentum, you just felt it really turn after that play.
Because you get hope. They're over there going, "What did we just do?"
Yeah.
You know, and like you could, the momentum is, and then on the other end of the field, who blocked? Was it? I know Vea is the one that ran it into. He blocked it and returned
No,
it.
Vinny Sipowicz. So he blocked the first one. He
And the
was
second one.
part of the second one. The second one wasn't necessarily a block. I don't think it goes in the
Kind of a low
stat sheet.
snap.
It
Yeah,
bobbled the snap, and then he kind of bobbled it picking up. He couldn't quite get it, and I think at that point he's no longer protected.
Oh yeah.
So Vinny hits him as he punts it, so it doesn't go very far. And thought we were going to get a big man touchdown. Sione Vea, he tried to. So, but again, another big momentum play. Then I thought our offense, one play and score. If there's a negative from it, defense is playing really hard and a lot of snaps there in a row, and then they're right back out. And obviously we'll take it and they'll take it, but. Another special teams play that was underrated in the games. We had a big kick return that set up one of our touchdowns, and just trying to make some explosive plays there. And I think each week we're getting better, and it's a big part of what we're doing.
Taylor Reed, man, really good special teams coach. Just good coach and dude in general.
Yep.
Appreciate what he does. You mentioned some of the defensive guys too. We talk about Vinny a lot on the show. I think for good reason. You just mentioned a couple of plays, but Hayden Barrett, double-digit tackles. Cole Stanzione, he's kind of like Hibbler and Jackson Austin. It's like he just gives it to you every game.
Yep.
Vea with a couple of sacks, I think, in this one. I think Jackson Sewell with a couple tackles for loss. I mean, you really had, and this was a nightmare offense to try to play against.
Yeah.
Their motions, their athleticism. They ran tempo. I mean, they had it all. It's like they just put everything in a blender, and it's like, oh, my God, there's guys moving everywhere. And yet you had some guys kind of step up and settle down. It didn't look like that in the first half. But in the second half, you really settled in. And I thought, other than the very last drive, I thought you guys really got it stopped and slowed down. And it was pretty impressive because that's an impressive Eagle offense. I was very impressed.
Yeah, their quarterback has made, same one as last year. Just really impressed with his improvement from junior to senior year. Really, really good player. I think he's got a college offer in the last week or so too. And really impressed with him.
Dylan Slack.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then really impressed with some of the athletes they have and moving them around really well. But our guys did. Early I think. And we practiced tempo during the week. It was something that was an emphasis. We knew that they would do that some, and the shifting and moving around. But you try to replicate it in practice, but a lot of times it's hard to. And so I do think there were little alignment issues, or we were offsides a few times in the first half, and I think those are just things that the tempo kind of got us, and just the pace of the speed of it, I guess, even more than the tempo. And but once they settled in, we played good football. And you mentioned the D-line. You mentioned Sione and Jackson Sewell, and then Cade Hayes, and Ian Manili has done a good job. And anyway, I think that defensive line has taken. Really, we haven't had kind of that group that has played like consistent snaps together. I mean, it's really about 2 weeks of it, and I just think they're. I hope we can play a lot more games because I think their ceiling is still out in front of them. They moving guys around and through injury and stuff. Like I think they're all getting comfortable with their roles. I
have a question at the end of the show about that very thing in the fun portion of the program. So we'll get to that in a little bit. And I thought this was an Abilene High team that handled your rushing game about as well as anybody that I'd seen.
Yeah,
which this is rare. To limit what you guys could do on the ground as well as they did, and then really it just came down to they played hard and tackled well.
Yep.
You just couldn't get anything after the first contact, and speak to how hard it was to try to run the ball and just get anything going on offense. Because the point I'm bringing up is Ryan Rodriguez really stepped up and really got, and Jaden Kennard, and you had to kind of go about it a bit of a different way to move the ball.
Yeah, and we kind of knew that coming in. Not that we thought they were just going to stop our rushing attack, but they've got 7 to 11 in the box at all time. There's never less than 7 in the run fit. And they make it tough. Last year we talked about it several times. I think we ended the game with 4 first downs against them the year before. That's the way they're built. think you have to throw it a little bit on them to keep the chains moving. And so I thought we did a good job of it. I thought our offensive staff did a good job of taking what they gave us. Sometimes they were giving us the underneath, and we took that. And then, you mentioned Jaden Kennard making some big plays and breaking tackles and, off of a couple fast screens. But that's, hopefully that's what we can do. Whatever the defense has given us, we'll try to take advantage of that. And guys, it's nice to see guys stepping up. And, Jaden Kennard, we've talked about, he was our offensive MVP this week, and he has been playing extremely hard every game. And just the stat sheet doesn't show it all the time. So it's nice to see him get in the stat sheet, get a few catches. I think he had maybe one carry also. And he's just doing a really good job. He's a culture guy. Every rep in practice is full speed, and he's getting the most out of what he's got.
The thing I like about Jaden is his care factor.
Yep.
He care. I mean, it matters to him.
Yeah, it does.
And that's a big deal. It equals a 38-35 loss, second to last play of the game, and I just thought there was this is just me, the broadcaster. I thought there was a couple of penalties in that series that I did not agree with. I thought it was blatantly bad officiating. Again, my opinion, but it sets up what I think is just a big time throw and a big time catch.
Yep. And
that's the part that you can't get lost. They made a huge play, and Ritz is just right there, and it's just.
Yep.
I mean, it's I don't know. It is a bad way to lose, a tough way to lose, but they made a big time play, and this is what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. That's it. Something for us to learn from and be better. We do a 2-minute drill on Wednesdays where we kind of change the situation and see where we're at, and that's the situation we gave the defense today. Was we're up 4 here with this amount of time, and let's get the stop. And so we'll get better from it. I think that'll make us better. But it was a good high school football game, and we got to put ourselves in a better position. That maybe the last drive doesn't matter. If we play the first half like we did the second, maybe we're in a better situation down at the end. But I think if we're put in that situation again, I think we'll finish it.
And to be fair, on the officiating, there was a penalty on a touchdown, and that's a few plays earlier that was called back. So I want to make sure that I mentioned that as well. But I just thought, big time catch, and that's a heck of a.
19's a really good player too. The receiver that they got.
Yep. Rylan Bradford was his name. I mentioned that. He's a good player. That's just all there is to it. Okay, so now we skip ahead to Monterey. This is an in-town, rival and all those things. It's much more important because it's district game too. And you guys, look, Monterey was winless last year. They're 3-4. They're much improved this year. They're still in the thick of things, district race-wise. So this is a very important game come Friday night. And I think that you would look at it and say, we dropped that one last Friday night. We just don't have a lot of margin for error with 3 game opportunities left. And you always say, we don't have so many games left to play, guys. So got to take advantage of it Friday night.
And it's something we talked to the guys about on Monday after practice that, seniors to be thinking about. We've got walkthroughs and stuff, but told them really after Monday, you got 8 practices left, seniors, guaranteed. And it's not always guaranteed with injury, but just you got 8, and try to put yourself in a position to earn 3 more. Try to put yourself in a position to play past that last game of the season. And it's a huge game. And it being Monterey, it being a local rivalry, city rivalry, that adds to it. But for us, we're worried about what we're doing, and we did some things Friday night that put us in a position to lose. We played some undisciplined football. Gave some hidden yards that were all on us, and so really no matter who the opponent is, I think sometimes that city rivalry stuff and the crosstown showdown, it gets all these names and all that stuff. I think a lot of that's for the fans, for the parents, for the people that work with each other, and that's fun. It makes it fun. It makes for the atmosphere to be a little bit more electric. But on our end of it, and I would imagine on Monterey's end and their field house, that it's a district game. It's just as important as every other district game, and that's how we approach it. We got to do we got to do our best to control what we can.
And I go back to last year. This was a 31-14 Pirate win at Lowry Field, but it was much closer than the score would indicate. I mean, Monterey played really hard, and it was, you kind of pulled away at the very end, but it wasn't easy.
No, not at all. Not at all. And we've been playing, trying to think, the first year that we played Monterey was probably like 2016 maybe, somewhere right in there, 2015. And, man, they've been some battles. And they've gotten the better of us a couple times. I know those first few. And then there's just been some really good battles. That 2019 team that we had that went 13-2, we go over there, and that was a 21-13 game. I mean, it just been some really good battles. It's a good rivalry, and they're going to play. You know, I think what's interesting about them is they're playing really physical. Kind of what we're talking about, how we didn't respond, you know, in the first half to Abilene. Monterey's playing a physical brand of football right now, and that's kind of what they're hanging their hat on. And I mean, you can see it on both sides of the ball. They're really big on both fronts. Their O-line and D-line are big. Just pretty impressive all the way around.
Yeah, and, you know, Cash Lewis is a big-time receiver, and then Jamarcus Smith, they hand it to, and Luke Arrington kind of under center. A pretty good offense, and they just kind of run some I formation almost. And
really a little bit of everything. Early in the year, they were just heavy run, a lot of 12, you know, one back, two tight end, or sometimes 21 personnel, and later in the year, they've been a little bit more spread out. So, we're planning for all of it. To me, they're kind of putting themselves in a position to play any style of game if they need to, and that's a sign of a good team if they can kind of be in different games. And that's what they've been in. They've been in some low-scoring ones, and then, you know, they play friendship, and it's like a 50. Or they might have even got in the 60s, but just a crazy game. Almost had friendship.
4 overtimes.
Yeah, that was wild. So they've played a tough schedule. They played some 6As, and they're good. It's gonna be a battle for sure. And you know, you mentioned that Cash Lewis. He plays corner too. He's a good defensive player, and it's gonna be fun. Our guys are excited about it, and I think they're just excited to play after last week. You know, don't like ending that game the way we did, and there was disappointment for sure. But they came back Monday ready to roll.
You mentioned the small number of practices you're guaranteed left. I mean, this is potentially the second to last home game that you're guaranteed to.
Right.
You just don't know. And obviously, I think you wrap up against Caprock at home, I think, on 2 weeks from this coming Friday night. But next week will be in Tascosa. But it's a home opportunity at 7 o'clock at Pirate Stadium this Friday. So it'd be a big one. And, again, a lot on the line. I mean, that's just all there is to it. In a jumbled up district race, and there's kind of, I think everybody's, kind of looking up now at Abilene High, but, Amarillo's in there and you guys are in there. We mentioned Monterey's, kind of sneaking around the chicken coop. So, anyway, 7 o'clock this Friday night, the Plainsmen and the Pirates, it'd be a big one. Anybody else that I missed that you thought played well in that game, or kind of some sneak? There's so many. It was like, a week-long, 3-hour trip to the stadium watching that, the ebb and the flow and the emotions and all that. I mean.
Yeah, I thought, Hudson Cross is, he's a good football player. Yeah. And I don't even know, I've looked at the stats, but I don't even know how much he showed up. He's just a good football player and doing a lot for our team. And, anyway, I thought that was really good. Malik Epps-Keller in the second half did a really good job, kind of traveled him with number 19, and he did a good job of limiting him in the second half. And then offensively, I think and there's a lot of guys I thought that played pretty well offensively, but I think it's pretty interesting that interior that we played against Abilene High, that guard, center, guard, and quarterback are all sophomores. Just that kind of interesting. Probably not something that we thought we'd roll into Abilene High in that game and do, but that's John Ryder Hatton, Peyton Duncan, Bobby Blash, and then Ryan Rodriguez at quarterback. Pretty interesting. And then Jaden Hibbler having 3 touchdowns obviously is he doing it in the passing game a little bit and running the ball. And we didn't have a ton of success running the ball, but I think we also had some 5-yard gains that really put us in a good situation and put us in some manageable down and distances.
Shout out to the class of 2026. Keep it up, boys. Ryan's done a really good job, and I know Peyton's been a recent addition there at center, and he's doing a really good job too. I think a lot of him. Okay, did you watch the eclipse last week? Did you care?
We watched it. Kids
with special glasses and everything.
Yeah, shout out to my mom. Carolyn got us. Kids had soccer games, and so we were out at soccer games. She said they're going to look up at the sun and they're going to burn their. She was real worried about that, and I kind of rolled my eyes at it. But then I was kind of glad she brought them because I was looking at it too. Yeah,
and it's
cool.
And it's bright.
Yeah,
but those glasses, you see the little crescent and all that stuff.
Yeah,
was it solar or lunar? One of the two. I'm not really good astronomy guy.
I don't know.
It did get kind of weird outside. I could just definitely tell, but anyway, I'm not as impressed by that as
my oldest
be.
was
okay,
real into
cool.
it. He
Yeah,
thought it was cool. Yeah.
And it is cool. I mean, I don't. Okay, now let's play some. Then I have one final question
I
for you.
hate when we play stuff.
Either or. This goes back to when we were talking about your D line being well. If you were forced to pick, and like you were a coach building a team, and you were forced to pick, I can either have an elite O-line or D-line. You choose what? And it doesn't mean that you think
elite?
any less.
Yeah.
I'm talking elite, like control the game type group. Because the reason I asked is because I think last year you kind of had. From a high school standpoint, you had as close to maybe you're ever going to get.
Right.
And I think this year, even though the pieces have moved, your group up front has really been good. I don't know if it's elite, boys, but I mean, you've got a lot of moving pieces. Chris Carrillo was not a part of that, and he was. But I mean, I just think so. It was just kind of an interesting question.
Yeah, I would. The only reason I would probably say an elite O-line, mainly because I think you can control it more. Like you can control how the game goes. And obviously an elite D line is great too, and wreaking havoc. But there's things an offense can do against an elite D line.
Shorten the game.
Yeah,
you can play all different kinds of.
I think I'd choose.
But it's like you love all your children equally. But I don't know if there's any other position that would a position group that you would say if you could have an elite at, because you could have an elite quarterback, but if the group up front it's not gonna be good.
Absolutely. I think it starts with. I mean that's a good question because that's where football is both lines. So, and I think both of ours are doing a really good job.
Either or, Rangers or Astros.
Neither.
No, it's not the question.
I don't have an answer. I'm not a baseball guy. Hey, I like the Cooper Pirates baseball. I'll watch Texas Tech baseball.
Or do you not?
I haven't watched MLB baseball game in
do you not hate one
10
less?
years. I mean, I would probably say the Rangers. I guess
you hate least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate them.
Okay.
I just don't really
Sunday
care.
night football or Monday night football?
Sunday night.
I
think
know.
Sunday night's the best.
Isn't that wild?
And I'm not coaches work quite a bit on Sundays, and
so you miss the day games.
Miss the day games, and then when I get home for usually get home for those 3:00 games, it's kind of funny. It's like I could use a break from watching film, from watching football for a little bit, and I've made my wife and kids watch Saturday football and all that, so it's like we take a break. But usually by Sunday night, then I'm ready to watch a game. So,
Carrie Underwood, ready for Sunday night?
Is she part of Sunday Night Football?
I think so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
the theme song. There you go. Okay, going out or staying in?
Oh, staying in 100%. Not even. What is going out? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That means you're getting old.
I sit in my chair.
So
my son calls the chair that I sit in the relaxing chair. Shout out to the TV show Bluey, if y'all hadn't watched Bluey, the relaxing chair.
Very good. It's kind of the same thing, but along those lines, go to bed early or stay up late?
Now, let's see. I'm a stay up late guy.
Okay. Stay in guy, but stay up late guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I'll stay up late. I'd prefer to stay up late and sleep in, and this time of year I don't sleep in, but I usually still stay up pretty late.
Dine in or delivery?
Delivery.
Okay. So you don't go to play. Yeah, you just,
Listen, when you have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old, restaurants are tough.
Okay. Ride a horse or ride a motorcycle?
Oh, that's tough. So my wife grew up on a ranch, and they ride horses. So when I would go back and we'd visit, especially when we were dating, they'd get me on a horse, and you talk about uncomfortable. I am not comfortable on a horse, but I think I'd choose a horse over a motorcycle, though.
I don't know what either is thinking.
That's a good point.
And I don't feel safe on either one. So I'm with you. I'd probably be like, yeah, I like my O line and D line. Yeah, both. But right there, I don't. I just neither. Yeah, yeah. I know. I'd probably get on a horse though, even though it's like it knows that I don't know how to control it.
Well, and
they know, they like sense it, and like you watch their ears, and when their ears go back, you're like, okay, hold on.
Well, and I think like when I would go, my wife's family, they're all little skinny things, and I get on there, and that horse is looking back like, what? I didn't sign up for this big guy.
Okay, the last topic I thought this is funny. I had somebody in the office ask me earlier this morning, actually. Do you think we could ever listen in to like the headset conversations on a Friday night? To which I've always said those would, if you could sell the feed to coaches like they do with like NASCAR races, because you can go do that. You can go listen to the radio feed of whatever driver and his crew chief and all that.
Yeah.
You guys would give up too many secrets about the way you're thinking and things you've worked on and all that stuff. But I think people would be fascinated at the conversations that go on during a football game amongst coaches up top, down low, and like that, and all that stuff. Who's the wildest on the headset? Or who's the most outspoken?
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty good. Yeah, okay. And I'll tell you what's funny, what people would not realize, and we've had some coaches that like their first year on staff would maybe hear an interaction on the headset, and then after the game be like, "Are y'all good? Are you?" It's just part of it. I mean, sometimes you got to, you're trying to communicate something, somebody's talking, you got to tell them to shut up, and it's intense, but it's just part of it. It's
not personal.
Nothing's personal. But I feel like you kind of go through early in the season, maybe some of that, like sorting that out. And hey, guys, we got to be quiet during this time. We got to do that. Coach Reed is pretty. He's for sure but he's kind of learned to take his headset off. So if you see him take his headset off, he's
often
he's saying some stuff and probably doesn't want it heard on the headset. So.
This is what if we could sell the feed to this and let people listen, this is what they'd want to hear. And he's. I just think that's fast. I don't know if there was a Notre Dame won a game against was it maybe the Duke game, and they did their internal. Did you see this?
I don't know if I saw.
Okay, their internal media folks did a 5-minute video, kind of recapping the win, but they piped in the coaches talking on it, and it was
cool.
It was fascinating, because it's just the behind the scenes stuff that people don't get to see or hear, and like the why and the timing of everything is just kind of I don't know. I think it's fascinating, but
the best part of the headsets, and I'm probably the worst on the headset. I guess you probably need to ask other guys this instead of me, but it drives me nuts when the coaches don't have them on. And like my brother Matt got the wrath of that this year.
You're trying to talk to him,
and trying to think of the game that it was that we were Friendship, when they were about to line up for that field goal before overtime, and I'm trying to tell Coach Darden, make sure we're good on the 2-minute, make sure they're ready, knowing what's going, and then I get nothing in response, and I look, and he didn't have his headset on down there, and I'm going crazy. So they could probably tell you some stories about how I am on the headset.
And do you have two channels, or just everybody's on one?
Two. There's O&D, and me
and
Coach Reed. Since Coach Reed's special teams, we can both flip back and forth.
Okay.
We're the only ones.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, man, enjoyed that. It was a heck of a game Friday night. You guys just came up just a bit short, but this is sports, man. It's being played at a high level. They made a play. Salute to Abilene for that. You guys are back at it on Friday night, 7:00, Pirate Stadium. Be a big one, big district game right there between the Pirates and the Plainsmen. So, and I believe Tommy Wood, Chuck Darden, and Taylor Peters on the call this Friday night from Pirate Stadium. So we will see you there. Watch it on the LCISD Athletics YouTube channel or listen on 100.7 The Score. Until next time.